For people keeping up with the Enchanted lore, this is not the big video I was talking about in my previous video about the wild robot. I just checked out the Amazing Digital Circus, The Mystery of Mildenhall Manor, and felt inspired to make this video as soon as possible, even if that meant I had to put off the big video for one day only. I'm glad to say that I saved this intro for the last thing I wrote during my writing process, and it felt like all the points I wanted to make and little secrets I wanted to expose all come out without hesitation because of how confident I was when making this, so please consider subscribing and liking for more as you make your way through this video. Without further ado and without more waiting, I would just like to say that the new episode is personally my favorite and the best written episode out of them all. And I am curious on where they go next and if they'll ever even top this because it's going to be really hard. I'm not even a super fan of the series either. I'm just more of a casual watcher, but this episode specifically has sparked my interest just a tiny bit more. Maybe even just a lot more, actually. Kinger has always been a background character at best for the people to laugh at because of how crazy he is. This episode takes his original characterization and refines it into the greatest character arc in the show. And if you want to fight me on that, please, let's take it outside. Kinger in the first episode is a stereotypical crazy uncle or grandpa that the main character has to deal with. And for what the Amazing Digital Circus pilot was trying to do, it makes a lot of sense why they didn't put too much time into creating unique characterizations for all of the characters. To put it as simply as possible, Kinger is just some insane loner person. As soon as it seemed like I would talk about the first episode, let's move on to the second because there's a bit more to discuss. Kinger has a much more of an A-plot role until Pomni and Gummy Goo get stuck under the map. The thing is that when Kinger has the bucket on his head, he becomes a little bit not like himself. What I mean by this is this specific scene from the second episode.
Well, if worst comes to worst, we could always ask Kane to find her.
I'm more worried she's having another horrible experience. She still seems really upset about what happened yesterday. I don't think she really likes me that much.
It's a lot for anybody to go through. Don't take it too personally. I remember how long it took for you to adjust.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised you remember that.
Remember what?
Now keep this in mind because I will come back to it in just a bit, but now let's get onto the true peak of this series. Kinger and Pomni are stuck inside the mansion where there is a mysterious ghostly presence thingy among them. Now in this episode, we see Kinger come to his senses more when he's in the dark for an extended amount of time. This is seen near the very end of the episode where Kinger and Pomni have a heart-to-heart and Kinger retells the story of the last moments he got to spend with his wife, and for a show that is all over YouTube Kids, this part personally really got to me, with it directly showing how you have to hold on to the memories before they fade away right before your eyes. Kinger's logic is something that really grounds this episode as a taste of realism and creates a sympathetic side to him that we haven't seen before in any of the previous episodes. The misunderstanding that can now be seen when it comes to the previous two episodes is that Kinger is not some insane lunatic who is on the verge of insanity and abstraction just because that's his entire role in the show, but instead he's actually a broken character who loses his perception of reality when surrounded by bright lights as it blocks some of the only memories he can still remember. Although when he is in the dark, the lack of the bright colors allows him to focus on where his mind currently is, and that's something that is seen in this episode as one of the key messages that you may have missed. Kinger isn't able to express his emotions and how he truly feels when he is out in public surrounded by everybody. But when alone and not being watched by everybody else, he's able to be himself and express his emotions to himself. It's a message on masking and how some people in the light aren't exactly the same person as they are in the dark. Editor Enchanted here, I'm just doing this in one take, so we'll see how this does. I have no script on me, but I was looking back through the episode because I was getting footage for the video, and I actually realized that during the part where Kinger and Pomni are, and all the lights go dark before they meet the mysterious ghostly figure, whatever thingy, you can kind of notice that Kinger is like trying to focus on Pomni a lot more than himself because he's in the darkness. We've established that when he's in the dark, he's like a lot more open and honest with everybody. But the thing is that during this scene, he's like trying to distract himself because he doesn't want to open up to Pomni and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty interesting and kind of adds on to what I was saying here. Hopefully this wasn't like a really awkward time to be putting this in, but just wanted to put this out there. Now, to further communicate this, I talked about the second episode of the show and how it has some ties with this new one and something that we didn't pick up on until now. Now, I showed you this scene.
Don't take it too personally. I remember how long it took for you to adjust.
And to break it down more, Kinger expresses himself by having the bucket on his head, which compared to earlier when he didn't. He brings up how he remembers the first day Ragatha got there and how long it took for her to actually adjust, which is completely out of character for him. This goes deeper when he lifts up the bucket off of his head after Ragatha comments on how she's surprised that he remembers that, and as soon as she does that, Kinger tilts the bucket off his head and says, "Remember what?" which draws home how this scene was a foreshadowing the entire events of the next episode, and we just had no clue whatsoever. Lastly, Kinger's characterization is a step forward when it comes to the Amazing Digital Circus's method of storytelling, and proof to us that Glitch knows what they're doing and is not going to let us down or have to dumb down the show for the convenience of kids, because this episode is truly special and giving impressionable people the right ideas. This also means that there is a possibility that there is more foreshadowing that we have just missed during the previous episodes that may come back for whenever the next one comes out, which may relate to some new characters or some old. To recap this video, keep in mind the next episode for some deeper meanings on why the characters do what they do, because now that Glitch has more funding and more writers, we may see more with the old characters, like how they turned Kinger from a crazy person to a broken person by revealing his past and connecting motifs of light and darkness into it to drive the plot home, while also leaving room for more that we may have missed and haven't picked up on yet. Also, if you didn't notice, the thumbnail for this very video is also a metaphor, with the broken side being in the dark and the crazy side being in the light to match what this video is going for. I would just like to wrap this up with my thoughts on the episode as a whole. I think it's the best because of how deep it goes, but I also think the Zoople stuff is really interesting and something I want to see more of, just like more of the Kinger stuff. I hope this is not the last time that we see Kinger being a very open and honest character. I think they have some really interesting characters and know exactly what the fans want and don't want out of the show in the long run, which leaves me excited for what else they can do with the show, which is built off of the creativity and the minds of some genius people. And if anything is going to make me excited for the next one, it was definitely this masterclass peak of an episode. And for the record, this is probably the only episode as of right now that I would consider rewatching because of how much I enjoyed it and how much I think it's just like this actual piece of art. I'm going to get back to my big video coming out on Wednesday, even if that means I have to go through what most people are calling the worst movie of the year. But you know, personally, what everyone says is not going to discourage me from checking it out, and I think this video should not discourage you from liking and subscribing too, to help out the channel, because it genuinely just means a lot, and it's not that inconvenient to do so. You'll get more videos just like this in your inbox every single, week, and you know, I'm pretty sure you're going to like a lot more of what I have to say if you like this one. Let me know any other things you noticed in the Amazing Digital Circus 1, 2, or 3, and let me know if you want more content just like this, because I would happily make more. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm Enchanted. Bye.